Zane Meas My Testimony. Hi everyone, it's Maria Maumela. Thank you for joining me. Mr. Zane Meas is a South African actor. Um, he does uh, he does a lot of work, I believe, also with young men. He's involved in community work, I believe, and he's also involved in the church. So this is a celebrity that has had his hands in the kingdom for a while now. I had to quickly search him up to see like what is he up to, what is he been busy with. So yeah, he's still doing the wonderful work. Okay, this is just some of the things that he does. Okay, this is not a biography before his fans come for me. So I have a testimony. I I've already released a video on celebrities that are going to come into the kingdom, but this is one celebrity that is already in the kingdom. Now, this is my testimony, and I hope that Mr. Zane Mees gets to hear this testimony. I used to go to a church, Christian Family Church in Atlas Road. It used to be in Kempton Park and it moved to Atlas Road. And one day he was invited to come and preach. Well, knowing him as an actor, I was like, I would love to hear what he has to say. I really didn't know that he preached. I was in shock. I just wanted to hear what he had to say. I actually came out of curiosity. I just wanted to see him. Like, I really just wanted to see him. Okay. So we arrived early so you can get the best seats. Okay. Best seats being the second pew from the back. So we were at the very top. So we saw, yeah. I had my glasses on so I could see clearly, all right? So fine. He when he came onto the stage and then he began to sing. I didn't know he could sing. He sang so beautifully, so effortlessly. And I'm like, oh wow, his voice is anointed. Like I was like, wow. I wonder how many hats he wears, okay? And then he preached the word. And he preached beautifully. Like I was surprised, like, oh wow. Okay, okay. And that was it. And it was the end of his sermon, and he decided to say a prayer. And he told us to rise. We all got up. When this happened, I was with my ex-husband. Okay. Now this happened around I don't know, 2018, 2019. Huh? No, 2000, no, no, my bad. Around two, oh my gosh. Around 2000, it was before this happened before 2010. Yeah. So this is what happened. So he began to pray. Okay. I know it happened a long time ago, but I never told the church. I was in shock, like let me finish the testimony. I'll just elaborate my feelings and thoughts after this, okay? He began to pray. We were all standing on our feet. So as he was standing, I remember I bowed down my head as we began to pray. And I remember him praying. He was just praying softly, like, I was just listening to him. And as he was praying, the strangest thing ever happened to me. Mr. Zane Mees was praying, and as he was praying, with that gentle, soft voice, no shouting, no screaming, no nothing, he prayed. And slowly, I felt, first of all, I heard his voice begin to fade. And as his voice began to fade, I started to hear what sounded like mumblings up until I couldn't hear him anymore. And for whatever reason, I started to feel my body fall more to the left. Okay. And I was at the end, I was at the end of the aisle. Okay. I was at the corner. So I was just holding on to the chair in front of me as I felt my body fall more to the left. and I felt my head naturally tilt to the left. And I made sure that both my feet were steady naturally. And I held onto the chair. And for whatever reason, my eyes never opened. And it was then that I felt a hand go through my forehead like this. But the force in which the hand went in, it shook me, and it grabbed onto something right here on my head, inside of my head, like on my brain, and it held onto that thing so tightly, and it was just rough. It was just hard, and I'm like thinking, oh my word. By then my mind was working well, so I'm like, what, why all that force, why all that force? And then as it was like quiet for like 3 seconds, and then I felt a pulling, like the hand held on to something, and it was like literally pulling right here off of my forehead. And the struggle was real, and I was holding onto the chair in front of me for dear life as I felt this pull right here on my forehead. And then, after a while, after the struggle, it was then that I felt something begin to come out of my forehead. And it came out like it was like this. It was not like an easy pull, it was such a struggle. And eventually, the thing just came out. The hand came out holding whatever it was holding. And it was then that I like held on to the chair for proper balance. And after a while, I slowly began to gain a proper posture, and was able to stand up. And during that time, I never once opened my eyes. I do not know why, but I didn't think of opening my eyes. Once I had gained my proper balance, it was then that my head began to stand properly. Like I said, it was leaning more to the left. Then my head was straight. I was in proper normal posture. After a while, I began to hear the mumbling, and I remembered that I was in church. And thereafter, the mumbling cleared up, and I started to hear the pastor pray. Then I remembered that, oh my word, I'm in church, and Mr. Zane Meas is praying. And thereafter, he went on praying, and then I opened my eyes and I began to look around me, and I saw everybody was just okay. And I wondered, like, am I the only one who felt something? And I held onto the chair as I closed my eyes, not knowing what to expect next. I held onto the chair, and then he finished praying. And then it was then that he left the stage. I remember sitting down thinking, what on earth just happened? What on earth just happened? As we left the church, I told my ex husband what had happened to me. And he said, oh, wow, God touched you. Then you got delivered. He said, then, and I said to him, then it means something was put in me. And the Lord used this man to remove this thing. And I remembered after a while of the Duke. I once had a Duke that went missing. And I used to sleep with this Duke. And one day this Duke miraculously appeared. And it was given to me washed and ironed by someone. When this person gave me the Duke, they had this smile on their face. And I said, I've been looking for this. It was two people who came to give me the Duke. One was holding the Duke, and they said, here is the Duke that you've been looking for. I remember looking at them, and something in me was like, do not take the Duke. And I said to myself, even if I take the Duke, whatever they did to the Duke, my God is able and my God is mighty to save. Despite the Lord telling me not to take the Duke, I took the Duke. So when that happened, like, I was not surprised. Like, I did not know what it is that was deposited or that which happened as I put that Duke on my head. But all I know is that the Lord used him to remove whatever that was put in me. And I thought, if I were to go to the church and to tell them what had happened, I may have to reveal names. It might make my life difficult, because the testimony was going to unveil people's faces who were involved in witchcraft. And I did not want the stress. I found myself in a difficult position because even my ex-husband, I never got to tell him the story behind the Duke or to mention names because I did not want trouble. I did not want problems. So me testifying, I would have to reveal information, and I wasn't ready to fight certain fights. Okay? So that is the reason I never got to tell the church, but I wanted so bad. It was in my heart for months and months and months up until the Lord released me from telling it. The Lord kept encouraging me to tell, but I kept having that problem, like I will have to reveal the story behind it, what had happened, what strange things had happened, and all the other things that was just gonna point some fingers onto some people, and it was gonna just start some havoc in my life. Okay, so that is my testimony. So us as believers, we must not be afraid to undergo deliverance. If the Lord ever does open a chance for you to be delivered, then you have to take the deliverance. There are people who were initiated as children in infancy. You do need to be delivered, and you cannot have that thing like I cannot be delivered. People are going to be saying me this, me that. It doesn't work like that. There are so many things that we go through, and the Lord does warn us, but we can be stubborn. And sometimes we will pay the consequences, and sometimes the Lord has mercy on us. So, yeah, this is the testimony. So I just wanted to say, Mrs. Zane Meas, every time I saw you on television after that, I never looked at you the same. It is God who knows how I wished one day I could see you and tell you that this is what happened to me. And had I been given the opportunity to speak to you, I would have told you the whole story. I would have given you the names and everything. But I couldn't because there were names I had to protect. And even I myself needed to be protected to some level. So this is the testimony. So yes, Mr. Zane Meas, you really are anointed. And I do not know if you know that the Lord has anointed you, like for you to be able for the Lord to use you in my life like that without you shouting or saying anything. To tell you the truth, I remember once I became conscious of everything, I tried to remember of the things you were praying about. I couldn't exactly remember what you prayed for. All I know is that you gave a long prayer, a long prayer. So I pray that the Lord continues to use you. And yes, if you ever find yourself again in another church where you feel led to give that long prayer, please, sir, do not stop. You do not know what the Lord is doing in the people's lives. And I just want to encourage you that yes, your voice it really is anointed. Your voice is anointed. And it's amazing that the Lord would do that marvelous work that He did for me through you. And I know it has taken so long, but I want you to know with all my heart, I've always wanted to shake your hand and to tell you that truly, truly, God is with you. And truly, truly, you have been called by God. So thank you. God bless.